Hey everybody, Ketwolski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Star Trek discussions videos. Today we are going to be continuing our ongoing coverage of the Tardigrade lawsuit, which is Anas Abdin versus CBS and Netflix in regards to copyright infringement. So there's been quite a few updates to this case and kind of understanding as to what's going on since I did my video maybe about a month ago, so I want to kind of get everyone caught up to speed with where the appeals process is. As of right now, the legal process for the appeal is continuing to move forward. Anas's legal team has filed all the necessary paperwork, just barely meeting the deadline of November 7th, to continue on with the process with the Second Circuit Court for them to look at the judgment that was passed for dismissal by Judge Schofield just a few months ago. Part of the forms that were attached to this appeals process for the Second Circuit Court was a transcript from a court hearing way back on January 2019 with both the CBS Netflix lawyers and Anas Abdin's lawyers being present, being presided over by Judge Schofield. Now, what's interesting is I haven't seen this particular transcript previously, and in this transcript is actually where the entire discovery, the limited discovery piece was issued out by Judge Schofield for CBS and Netflix to provide information back to Anas Abdin and his lawyers in regards to the nature of which the potential copyright infringement could have occurred. Now, I did report on the whole partial limited discovery thing way back in the day, but I had not read this transcript or really understood why the judge had went ahead and did this, and then a few months later went ahead and completely dismissed the case. However, after reading the transcript, I think that I might understand a little bit more about how this particular argument might have fallen apart. So inside of the transcript, which I'm going to be linking down in the description, and I highly recommend anyone who's invested in this case go and read because it's actually quite interesting to kind of see how this whole process unfolds. But I want to read a specific excerpt from Anas Abdin's lawyers, Mr. Johnson, who begins to describe the nature with which they believe CBS was able to pull off their heist of stealing the Tardigrades video game idea from Anas Abdin for Star Trek Discovery. It says here, so the plaintiff has this game that has been greenlight on a site called Steam, and Steam has at any given time 500,000 people playing that game. Okay, so stopping it right there, I want to say that I don't think Anas's lawyers are trying to intentionally mislead the judge here with their words. I think that they genuinely don't understand what Steam or Steam Greenlight actually is, and I don't even think CBS's lawyers actually understood at the time what Steam and Steam Greenlight were, because they didn't even refute this claim that he's about to make to Judge Schofield, and Judge Schofield clearly didn't know about it because she forgot what Steam was, like the name Steam, later on in the transcript, and they had to be reminded of what it was. So these people don't really know what they're talking about, and it shows kind of a lack of preparedness on both, I would say Anas Abdin's lawyer side, and also it looks bad on CBS's lawyer side because I don't think they were prepared for them to say anything about this based off of their follow-up conversations that kind of seemed like repeating the same information but didn't address this part directly. So let's get back to what this says. It says again, so the plaintiff has this game talking about tardigrades that has been greenlit on a site called Steam, and Steam has at any given time 500,000 people playing that game. That's not what Steam is, but we'll get to that. Star Trek Discovery is actually a member of Steam, which makes no sense, but we'll get to that. And for plaintiff to actually get his game greenlit, talking about Anas, he would have to have submitted it to the Steam company, and then the people around the Steam community and the gaming community would actually vote on whether or not they wanted to have this game on Steam. Now that is very accurate. That's exactly how Steam Greenlight works, but let's continue. And they did. They voted on it, and it is very likely, and we believe that Discovery, talking about the legal version of Discovery, not the show, that Discovery will prove that very likely Star Trek Discovery actually voted for that game or voted against it, but either way, they know that this was the game, and they saw it, and they had access to it. So here's the thing. The first implication is that there's 500,000 people a day at any given time playing a game called Steam. Steam isn't a game, it's an application which houses games. But the implication here is that there is a game with 500,000 people playing it at any given point in time. Now again, Judge Schofield doesn't know what Steam is, so in her mind, right now, the way this is being worded is that there's potentially 500,000 people that could have seen this Tardigrades video game. The next line where it says Star Trek Discovery is a member of Steam, I'm not even sure what the intention here is or what the point of that particular thing is if you look up just the name Star Trek for users on Steam, there's like 2,500 different people with the term Star Trek or just Star Trek Discovery or some variation of different Star Treks in their name. I don't really know what user that they're talking about or what they mean by Star Trek Discovery as a member, but even if that's the case, and there is a Star Trek Discovery account officially connected to CBS, that's fine. I'm not saying that there isn't. I wasn't able to find it, but maybe they looked someplace else. The bottom line is here, the timeline doesn't make any sense, because what they're implying on the second portion of this statement is that the account Star Trek Discovery, definitely for sure, very likely voted on and at least saw the game Tardigrades while it was being greenlit on Steam. The timeline doesn't add up here. So Anas's game was greenlit back in August of 2015, but the earliest that I could find a trademark being filed with the US Trademark Office for Star Trek Discovery was July of 2016. They didn't have a name for the show in August 2015, a whole year before. And even if they did have the name and they decided not to trademark it, which is not in line with the other things that CBS has normally done, because they love trademarking everything in regards to Star Trek for any idea that they may have, it's very unlikely that CBS would have had a Steam account with the name of a brand new television show that they hadn't even announced yet or trademarked inside of Steam that would have voted on this game back in 2015. And the other piece of the timeline is his game trailer that showed the tardigrade actually enveloping his characters and being used as a transportation device came out just 10 days before the season 1 of Discovery trailer was dropped. These timelines don't add up, and they do not support his lawsuit. Now, moving past just the case updates, the GoFundMe has made some slight changes to it. Apparently, just a couple days ago, Nerdrotic, who was originally running the campaign, changed the description from being he was running the campaign to he was running it on behalf of John Johnson, which is Anas Abdin's lawyer, or one of his lawyers. In a tweet, Nerdrotic explained why he did this, saying, quote, "Funds are out of my hands and into the right ones at Anas Abdin, #justice for Anas. As far as accusations of grifting, please remember not to judge others by the standards you live by. It's beneath me. We'll leave that to backstabbing YouTubers and Alex Kurtzman, #IMO, Star Trek Discovery." I can't imagine who he's referring to by backstabbing YouTubers. This move, I believe, was to try to quell some of the concerns that were popping up online, because it made it look as though Anas and Nerdrotic were just kind of getting this money and it wasn't quite clear as to what they were using it for. But now it seems as though that they are trying to silence some of those issues by saying, hey, it's going straight to Anas's lawyer, who I believe at this point is either going to be collecting all the money for themselves or will at least be trying to dish it out to Anas at some point in time. Now, talking a little bit about the GoFundMe money, there's a very low chance that this case will continue on in the Second Circuit Court. Once this new panel of judges reviews the case, which they cannot provide any new additional information to, and they have really just asked in their addendum piece of it, which is basically just for them to review everything that Judge Schofield pointed out inside of her dismissal ruling. I don't think that they're going to see anything different, but it's very possible, but very likely they won't actually side with Anas Abdin, and they will dismiss it with prejudice, which means that Anas cannot file a secondary lawsuit for this particular situation. So what they raised this $20,000 for, and all of this stuff about like IT people and all these other things that they were trying to get money for inside of the description, I don't really know if that's just like a pipe dream, or maybe they don't understand the process, or if they're, I don't know what their intention is here, because they can't file a secondary lawsuit. And if this doesn't go through, which maybe they're just trying to gear this money towards, potentially hoping it does go through, but if it doesn't go through, then this is all for naught. So the final thing I want to talk about is the apparent increase in death threats that Anas Abdin has been getting, and he's been posting quite a bit about it over on Twitter and social medias and stuff like that. So he shared out a few different things. Now, what's interesting here is that obviously the support is very high for people saying that this is a bad thing. We obviously don't want any death threats. I don't want any death threats for anybody, not just Anas. However, what's interesting is that there is a grouping of people online that are calling out Anas for saying that this information is fake. Specifically, this handwritten letter that he posted up about people saying that the handwriting from a image that Anas posted up maybe about a month or so ago is similar to that of the writing style of this death threat letter that he received in the mail. Another hate message that he posted up on there, which he labeled as a Star Trek Discovery fan, and a lot of people are labeling these hate messages as Star Trek Discovery fans, and they're all very focused on homophobic slurs. The only thing I'm gonna say about this is one, hate mail, and death threats are terrible, and they should not be there, period, point blank. The other thing is Star Trek Discovery fans get shit on by everybody because we are too woke and we prefer the women agenda, and it's all about, the gay agenda, and we're supporting all of these gay things and all of these things. I don't see how someone could be so homophobic while also being a Discovery fan, because they got a lot of that gay action happening in Star Trek Discovery. So I don't really see the correlation there. It feels unfair to paint everybody who's a Discovery fan as these people. I would argue that they are not even Discovery fans, and if they are, they're even more confused or lost, and they definitely need some kind of assistance, because Star Trek Discovery is very, very prominently involved with the gay community, and we even had Tig Notaro's character on there, who was also a lesbian character. So I would just say that doesn't really add up to me in my mind. But again, the hate mail needs to stop, and I think that that's definitely something that is. You can have those conversations separately, but the hate mail needs to stop. But I would not label these people as Star Trek Discovery fans, because to me that doesn't reign true as to really being accurate. As this story continues to unfold, I will of course continue to cover it, but I am curious to hear what all of you guys and gals think about the information that I provided for you. So get your comments down below. What do you think about the statement from Anas's lawyer? What do you think about these threat messages and things of that nature, and about the whole situation with the GoFundMe and where the money is actually going? I'm curious to hear what you guys and gals think. Get your stuff down below, and let's go ahead and get the conversation started.